Good morning, Stampers. This is Debbie O'Neill, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And today I'm going to make a card. It's going to be with the Stampin' Up! Life is Beautiful, and this is just such a fun set, and I've been playing all day with it, so I thought I'd share with you. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, we're going to make the background, the sponged background for this card. So I'm going to take and this is a sheet of Whisper White, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And rather than do it with the card folded, because we're going to be doing a lot of inking and it tends to get on the back of the card, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the panel, and then we'll mount the panel to the card base. So that's easier. Okay, let's get going here. Get my inks out. Start with Highland Heather. And this is Terracotta Tile. Okay. So what I'm going to start doing, and this is what they call a toothbrush blending brush, and you can get them at Amazon, but they really are great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put it in the ink, and you always want to pounce it off because the brush has got a rounded bristles, and what will happen is if you go right on there on here, you'll get a round circle that's darker and rather than a smooth finish. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from off the edge, and we're just going to gradually go across the sheet up on the top here. And where I got the idea for this background was through the paper pumpkin in September. If you'll look in your kits, they had a sponge background, and I thought, wow, those are just really cool, and they are easy to do with your blending brush. So what you're going to keep doing is just go layer over layer, so that you're picking up a little more ink each time. But if you'll notice, see this here, see all those circles? That's what you would get if you went straight to this. It would look like that, so you don't want that. You want to have a smooth transition in through. Okay. Then I'm going to move to my terracotta tile. And sometimes I'll take, if the color is not going exactly the way I want it to, whoop, see, that's exactly, I got it too far over there and caught the edge. So we'll try and get this to blend a little more, but that's exactly what you don't want to do. This ink pad is a newly inked, and that's what happens. So I'm just going to blend this around. And what I am going to do too is I'm going to take a little bit of pumpkin pie, because I'd like, the color is just a little bit too much on the pink. So I'm going to blend this in, and see that toned it down. In fact, that's almost enough. I'm trying to get this edging here. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take my crumb cake, And what this is going to do is it'll buffer in between the colors just a little bit. I'm still trying to get that out. So, in other words, do as I say, not as I do. But that's how it goes. So you just want to keep layering your color in. And I wanted to buffer this transition here a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to move to our Just Jade. And as you're working with these inks, oh, here's my cloth here. Make sure you keep your hands clean, because if you get ink on your fingers and you touch this, then that's going to be not good. So here we go with our green on the bottom. And actually, when you're working with these inks, the darker or the richer the color, the lighter the touch you want to be, and more careful. And that's where I ran into trouble with that ink pad that was just re-inked, and so there was lots of ink. And I wasn't watching what I was doing. So basically, this is what we have here. So let me get these. Okay. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to take a white with a sponge dauber, and I'm going to bring in these clouds here. So this is just done with a dauber. And so you just pounce, 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 and you just get the clouds. And you know, clouds are wispy and they don't have a particular shape. They can be anything. So don't worry about, you know, getting an exact cloud. So I just want to put a couple wispies in here. And then one that's a little bigger. And actually, this is where they say with stamping, there are no mistakes. There are only opportunities to learn something different. So see what I did here with this spot? I just sponged a little over there, and we've got a cloud over the top of that. So no mistake. It's gone. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and set it aside, because this ink here is sitting up on top of the others. It's a craft ink, and so it'll take time to dry. So I'm going to take and set it aside to dry. And through the magic of TV, as they say, we have another one that is dry. Okay, so now what we're going to do is get this out of the way. Put these over here so they won't be part of an accident. Check my hands. Okay. This is a Stamparatus. It is the greatest invention since sliced bread. It is just wonderful. It will help you to place an image on your paper. And then if you know, a lot of times when we stamp something, we will stamp an image and part of the image won't come out, or it won't be dark enough, or for whatever reason we don't like it. So this way, it's a perfect positioner. So you can ink up the stamp, stamp it again right over the top of where you inked it up before, and then that will correct your problem. So it's a precision tool. Okay. So let me see here. I want to get this. I'm going to put this, and I'm going to check to see on my placement if my placement is okay. So I'm going to take these magnets, and the one thing you have to be very careful is don't let those magnets get together, especially if your finger is in between, because it's going to hurt. Okay, so I'm going to take my early espresso here, and I'm going to ink up my stamp. And give it a little bit of pressure. Now this pink on the stamp is because I've already been loving on this stamp, so it, with the photopolymer, it will pick up and retain some of that color, particularly the red colors. So there you go. That is exactly what we wanted. So we will put this aside. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to put the leaves on the tree. So our leaves are Highland Heather, and then we're going to mix in a little bit of our pumpkin pie. And then on the side here, I'm going to have a little bit of soft suede. It just kind of, every one that you do is going to end up a little different. So here's my soft suede, and here's this. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, and I want to get my foam, get it out from under here. When you stamp with photopolymer, it's not like red rubber, where red rubber has a foam in between the rubber and the mounting. These are photopolymer, and there is no backing to it. So we usually use a foam pad, and it'll give you a better impression. So, okay, let me get one of my sheets here to protect my pad, so I won't get it all messed up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the leaves, and I'm going to stamp them with Highland Heather with a little bit of pumpkin pie. Now I'm doing this with a dauber, and I'm going, if you can watch this, let me see if I, okay there. It's kind of hard because I need to get up closer to see it, but what I want to do is intersperse a little bit of color in with those leaves. So this is kind of a fall, and it's going to look like it is, the leaves are turning. So you go straight down, give it a second, and straight up. Okay. And this is my Stampin' Chamois, another great invention. This is how we clean our stamps. You just take, it's like a chamois, you know, when you're doing your car and you want to clean off that last little bit of water and everything, you wipe the car down with a chamois. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go back into the Highland Heather, back into the pumpkin pie, and just around the edges, catch just, you know how leaves are when they turn. They're not one color. They're usually several colors. straight down, wait a second, straight up. There you go. And back in the chamois. Make sure we're dry here. Back into the Highland Heather. Okay. And I don't want this too rounded up here, but I do want to bring the top of the tree up a little more. And I want to bring these, see these leaves coming down here? See, they're going to look like they're beginning to fall. Okay. Now with this one, what I'm going to do to make these leaves, see here how we've got them kind of falling down? What I want to do is I want to take this area of the stamp and I want to ink it up. With my Highland Heather, little bit of the pumpkin pie, and then I'm going to stamp it right there. So we've got that coming down. Okay. Now we're going to take into the Highland Heather, the pumpkin pie. Now I have this soft suede just in case it was going too light. And it's not. Some of the backgrounds I've done, they were too light and it had to be darkened up. So I had that. Okay. Now we want to have some leaves down here. And if you'll notice, I'm going first and second generation. And you can do that on the tree too. Second generation means you go ahead and stamp again without re-inking. Okay. Now this side, I'm going to use this, so let me get a little bit in there. Okay. So it's just a process of putting the leaves on until you get where you like it. Okay, I want to get in here. Just fill that corner in a little bit. And then I'm going to take second generation there. And right there. Okay. I think we've just about got it where we want it. Now what I'm going to do here, let me get these out of the way so I don't put my thumb in them and put them in my card. That's the one thing. Keep your inks kind of away. If you work too close to ink, what'll happen is as you move your papers around, they end up on the ink pad, and then you've either ruined the front or got it into somewhere that it shouldn't be. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put the hint of a little bit of a puddle or a furrow. You know how trees, when you plant them, you do a little bit of a furrow around it that holds the water. catch this way. Okay. All right. And I think we've just about got it. So now what I'm going to do is, let me make sure my hands, I've got some ink on them. There's nothing worse than getting a card all the way done, ready to mount, and then you get a thumbprint on it. Okay. Now see how this it picked up some ink? That's why I tend to like to do it on a panel and then mount it here, is because you tend to, you know, pick up that ink from underneath, and that way it kind of takes the stress off. Okay, and I love the liquid glue because it gives you some time to wiggle around. Okay, and there basically is your card. So this was the sample there, and I have some other cards that I did. This one and this one, and these backgrounds were done the same way. What I did was I took the layering ovals, and the largest layering oval, smooth oval, I cut it out on computer paper, and then you just put it over here, and I taped it on with removable tape, put my background on, and then went to the stamparatus, stamped it. These leaves are a little different here. I don't know if they're, I think they're, I was playing with them, so they're not back in, but see, they have a, if you can see this, it's like a bokeh, and it's really cute. And then I embellished it with the sequins here. I will tell you about these things. They are so much fun and they are great, but when you take this off, be very careful because they want to poof, and then you're picking them and sorting them, and so I need to get those segregated into a different container. And then I have this one here that I did. Now this one has, these have the little birdhouse. This is basically done the same way. I ink up the leaves, and then I sponged on with the dauber the different colors, and I've got about 5 colors in there. And so it basically is done the same way. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye.